Hello and welcome to the Outcast. I'm your host HC, and with me are.
Wolf.
And Stephanie,
And today I hope you guys are hungry because we are talking about something that's very delicious in a dungeon, dungeon meshi. I don't know what is the most proper way to say the name anymore because I think most people are saying the Japanese name, but the official English name is delicious in dungeons. So we are going to talk. I'm calling it dungeon meshi because it's easier. So we are going to talk about dungeon meshi.
Meshi means food.
Yes, we know.
It's supposed to be a joke on the Death Note thing, but yeah, never mind.
Oh my god, I get that. Holy shit, I get it now. Oh, I did not think about that. That's clever.
Thank you.
That's great. You see, and this is why it's good to have someone who actually read the manga and was a fan way before everyone else was on this podcast. Thanks for coming, babe.
Hmm, no problem.
With that being said, we are going to talk mostly about the anime adaptation that's been very popular on Netflix recently. But Steph here would chime in with some manga info that she may have, because if I recall, you read this since basically the beginning.
Not really. I started reading it in 2018. The beginning of the manga is 2014. It got popular in local Indonesian circle in 2016.
That's still more of a beginning than the rest of the people who watch this on Netflix. So as you told me, you are from the hipsters. You are from the ones who knew about everything before it became before the anime came out. So take
Yeah,
credit for
there
that.
there's quite a few of like Americans who actually followed it before it became a thing, but yeah.
Mhm. So, like I said, we're mostly focusing on the anime, but for when it comes to like manga comparisons and stuff, we'll make sure to mention those. That being
Mm-mm.
said, the show is still relatively newish, so we are going to have some non-spoiler discussion, and then once we're about to go into spoilers, we'll let you know. Steph, this is from the second intro. This is we didn't start the spoilers. Really, we talked about
Okay.
this. But anyway,
I anyway,
b-
go on.
before we go into the spoilers, just general talks. Since I kind of know Steph's point of view on this, Wolf, I'm curious. What did you think about Dungeon Meshi?
I thought it was really fun. Like, this is a very fun show, right? And I mean, it's from Studio Trigger again, who usually pretty much consistently don't miss when it comes to their animation and the shows they pick up and decide to do, right? So, if you've enjoyed Studio Trigger in the past, you'll be right at home here, right? But yeah, this was very fun and I very much enjoyed it.
By the way, you are the one who told me that Studio Trigger really doesn't like to do second season. We actually have a season two confirmed.
Yeah, because it's for
But
their
I
original
think
stuff. Like, right?
probably only because it's already been written, like the
Yeah,
whole
Oh,
thing.
yeah. Like if you look at BNA and Little Witch, those haven't got anything else and probably never will.
well, such is fate for some franchises, sadly. But yeah, so I came into this thanks to this fine lady here, and I was like, okay, let's see what this is about. And I really dig the concept. I really like the characters. I like the scenarios that they are introduced into. There are some plot things I may be like, maybe not a big fan of that, but overall really recommend the show. I had a lot of good time. I I have a lot of good times with it. It's funny, it's entertaining, it's really creative. I dig it. I recommend. Steph, your turn.
Yes. Yeah, okay, so I've been following this since 2018, as I mentioned it. I think I was initially enthralled by the cooking angle because I like cooking, but then eventually I got into like the whole world building and fantasy world. It's very unusual in that Okay, maybe I'm not the ideal person to talk about this, but when I read fantasy literature, like Western fantasy literature, they tend to be, a lot of them tend to be very like vibe based, but this is actually very thorough. There is actually a racial and social dynamics between the people. There is like specialty food, there's culture, so it's like this is it's like Ursula K. Le Guin and Terry Pratchett, like the depth of thought.
Definitely an
Hello?
interesting way
No,
to look
we
at
heard
that.
you.
Yeah.
You're good.
Oh, okay.
No,
Yeah.
I would agree too. Yeah,
Mhm.
coming from the
And
West, yeah, like a lot of fantasy media can be, as you said, it can be very vibe based, right? And this one
Mm.
has a lot more thought put into things that generally aren't explored as much, but it does it
I
quite well. Yeah, agreed.
like honestly, one of the things that in fantasy shows of any kind, like they would usually talk about, oh, where do we stop for food, or maybe we don't have money for food or something. And here it's actually like a problem that they're like, fuck, we're kind of hungry. What can we do? And they're like, well, we slay all of those monsters. Why not just eat them? And they come up with some like good recipes that like they really put emphasis on drying the food to look as delicious as possible. And also, they explain how to cook it in a way that makes sense both realistically and in the universe. Because let's assume, how in the hell would you cook a senator, right? Well, they got you covered. You may never be able to do it because senators, aren't that common in this current day and age. But if you could, this seems to be like the proper way to do it, it's so clever in its creativity, and I really enjoy that.
This is actually kind of ironic because like right now Ryoko Kui is doing a tour in the convention circuits internationally in Korea and America. And apparently she said, "Oh, I'm a picky eater actually."
uh,
That's kind of surprising.
I mean, maybe you say surprising, I say maybe because she's a picky eater, she's putting in the manga and anime what she wants to eat.
Oh, fair enough.
You may never know.
Hmm.
If you don't like the common stuff, maybe you'll like something made up. You could never know. That being said, I guess spoilers are starting from this point on. Like going to talk about plot details and all of that stuff starting from right now. So if you're interested, we all gave our recommendations. Go watch Dungeon Meshi. It's on Netflix. You are not going to be disappointed. So we are going to start talking about spoilers in three, two, one.
Actually,
Still
before we go to spoilers,
okay.
the what did you watch? Like English or Japanese dub, Wolf?
I watched the Japanese one all the way through, but I did,
No.
I did watch a couple episodes of the English one. This is one
Oh,
of
it's
these that
really good. The English
oh yeah,
dub.
like they did really good picking out the voice actors for the English one, right?
This is the other thing. I stuck with Japanese throughout my watch because it's this thing with me that I know if it's Japanese, I want to watch it in the original language because if
That's
it's
fair.
dubbed, I can tell it can distract me a bit. But again, in terms of Steph here, introducing me to stuff that is now more well known, she introduced me to the YouTuber ProZD, and suddenly, hey, ProZD is the voice actor for Shenshi in this show,
Hmm.
and he's doing a fantastic job as the character.
Yeah, like
He's,
it's the English voice acting was really well picked in my opinion, right?
mhm. Yeah, like I heard a lot of it. It's really good. Like if you prefer to if you enjoy the dubbing for anime, this is definitely one of the better ones. You won't do wrong by watching the English dub.
Yeah, like you get a different vibe from the characters, right? But I think that's perfectly fine.
Hmm.
Hmm.
It's well done. So yeah, either way, watch it. If you want to watch it twice, watch it twice with different VAs both
Hmm.
times. You'll have a lot of fun either way.
Yep, definitely. So with that being said, I guess now that we're actually in the spoiler section, favorite character from each one. Go.
Oh, it,
I know Steph's, so Wolf, I'm curious. You're on the spot.
well, it. I think I would lean towards Senshi.
Oh, the Tumblr sexy man.
This is true. I think
No,
it'd have to
listen,
be
because
Senshi.
like a couple of times they had like a poll on Tumblr about like sexy male characters. He's the one who keeps winning them.
And I wonder
Tumblr
how
has a
many of
type.
these votes. I wonder how many of these votes are legit and how many of these votes are trolls, though.
Well, I don't know about Tumblr has a type, but Senshi is bucking the trend because most of the Tumblr sexy men is generally trash men. Minus
But
Kim
again,
Kitsuragi and Senshi, but maybe we're developing taste.
Maybe.
but I will say though, there are two episodes. One where they like split into four versions of the character, and then the one where Senshi is just turned into this beautiful hot woman. I am not
Oh, elf,
surprised.
hot elf.
Yeah. So well, I guess this might impact some of people's choices, but okay, Senshi, not a bad choice at all. Definitely a good one. Steph, I think I know your answer, but share with the audience.
It's it's Izutsumi,
Mm,
the cat girl.
yep.
Well, I mean, I like Senshi too, but Izutsumi is kind of like very much a mood.
Mhm. She
I
she's a
think my
sweet.
second favorite is Marcel, but go on.
Mm. Well, my favorite I would say is Marcel because she's the one that has to deal with everyone's shit, and boy, does she have to deal with a lot of. She has to deal with Laya says lack of brain trademark. She has to deal with
Mm.
Senshi's excessive compulsion to cook everything. She has to handle Chilchuck's, body image issues, and she has to deal with Itsuzumi's whatchamacallit, snarkiness. And above all else, her girlfriend turned into a chicken.
Well, that's I guess it's like one no good, terrible, bad day for
It really
Marcel.
is.
Sorry.
But I think I like her the most though because out of all, she seems to be like the baggage to everyone's insanity. Like she's the straight man that has to keep the group in check. And but also she has a lot of arcs that I really enjoy, especially about self growth
Oh,
and
you're gonna enjoy season 2 even more.
Mm.
okay then, looking forward to that. But yeah, I enjoy her the most because I think as the straight woman to everyone, she needs to she's putting up with a lot more to try and keep everyone together, and also for her personal growth, I can tell that she made a lot of great personal journeys in the show, and I just enjoyed seeing it. Also, she's the mage. Mages are cool.
Fair.
Mm.
Very fair. Yeah, I think either Martial or Izutsumi would be number two for me between one of
Yeah,
those two.
Hmm.
Itazumi is definitely and one of the close seconds, but I do want to say that I also enjoy Shenshi, like his backstory episode, even though I think it's not that great. When he tastes the soup and then he actually freezes and goes, "I never thought I'd taste this again." Steph could testify that one actually broke me.
Mm.
That really hit
Oh,
home.
that was actually a really I'm that was actually yes, it was a good episode, but also I really like the fact that in the English dub, Pro ZD actually made the effort to make Senshi sound younger when they were at the flashback scene when he was still a boy,
Oh, I'll have
and
to
the
watch more of
Japanese
that.
actor didn't really do that, which is like
Mm.
not that I'm trying to say they're bad, but I really like the extra effort that Pro ZD put in.
Mm. Agreed. I'll have to listen to that. That sounds
Yeah.
like that'd be really good. Yeah.
By the way, this was an episode that Steph was preparing me for all the time. She was preparing me for the Senshi backstory, and then she saw the episode before me, and she's like, "No, they cut a lot of stuff out." But
Yeah, they
it,
did. I anyway. I told HT to be like, listen, I have a lot of opinions. Don't let me go on too much.
yeah, but for the record, it's not that they necessarily left anything out, but there were parts of it because that were just cut because in the manga, if you told me it was like 2 chapters, and here they just condensed it into one half of an episode.
Mm.
Yeah, I would prefer that it's actually like one whole episode because I think it actually make the impact more strong.
Regardless, though, I did enjoy the impact at the end. Again, it was the one time the show actually got me like emotionally. That I'm
With
like,
well, here's a good question. With the knowledge you have of the manga chapters, sometimes I know for animes they'll like cut stuff and then use some of that
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
later season.
I don't okay, like I don't begrudge them for cutting some stuff
Hmm.
because I understand the limitations,
Yeah.
but some parts I'm like, man, I wish they didn't cut it. But
Mm.
if you ask me specifics, I can't really say, but like the one thing I really wish they animated was like because at the end, because you know how like at the end of the year they usually collected about 10 chapters into like one single graphic novel or 8 to 10 chapters.
Hmm.
yeah,
So usually at the very end after the chapters, they have like a little food review, like food review or monster facts by Laios, Marcel, and Chilchucks, and I they only animated the one with the moving armor. Just like, yeah, thanks. But the rest they kind of cut it out.
I wonder if that's something they'll add more of next season then, since it seems that this did
Mm.
really well.
Well, I
I
mean,
mean, most likely.
yeah, some animes like Full Metal Alchemist ended up animating the little extras that that because Hiromu Arakawa would actually had like little parody comics of like the dramatic scenes at the very end of the each graphic novel.
Yeah.
So they actually eventually animated that. Maybe that's what they're going with, but we'll see.
Mm. Fair enough.
Mhm.
So, but
Mhm.
anyway, this show has a lot going on in it. Like there are a lot of characters and a lot of plot elements, and you could even
Mhm.
say that it has its own form of politics. So, is there any specific plot line that that got you more invested than others? Like, was there anything that really caught your attention? I think I know what Steph is going to choose.
Well,
Oh. I want Wolf to go first.
for me, I enjoy fantasy in general, anyways. Right? I have a it's like my go-to more than sci-fi at least. But I
Mhm.
love that I can sit back and watch this, and I can see there are a ton like absolutely like this. You can tell this was a very heavily influenced by like Dungeons and Dragons and things of that nature, right? And
Ryoko Kui is a big fan of like Western RPGs,
yeah, I
so.
saw that. So yeah, like it makes a lot of sense, right? Because I think we were like reading up on her. It said she's played stuff like Baldur's Gate 3 and some of the other like Pathfinder games and stuff. Like, so you can really see the influence of that here. And I think it was fun to see a lot of that, and I think that kept my interest a lot. Seeing how because a lot of that has changed up for this manga and the show and everything. So it was fun seeing like, okay, how would you take that and put that in this world you've created? And it was fun seeing those changes. But also like
Mhm.
it was really good seeing the background story of King Delgal as well, like through the paintings and just learning like, hey, here's a little bit of history that's happening in the background for you. None of the main
I
characters care. Like Laios doesn't care at all. Is
just
not
want to
interested,
point
but I
out
love how they did that.
I just have to point out that there was a point like when we get to like the first episode that mentions that, and Elias is just going through the paintings like it's Mario 64, and then there's just this mage character, and that just keeps showing up, and I'm like, I have a feeling that this person is gonna be like a
You mean the
thing.
person?
Yeah,
You mean the
I
person
did
who's?
I did like
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I did a bunch of short comics for I actually joined a Dungeon Meshi fan group because I kind of want to nerd out
Mm.
because I wanted to nerd out with spoilers. So I actually did like a mini comic where I actually showed HC reacting.
Yeah, and the comic is basically me going, I have a feeling that this person is going to come back later. And then she's like, I can't say anything. I can't say anything. Yeah, as you can see, I put her through a lot of torture.
Sounds like.
So, but I just remember thinking that I have a feeling this guy is gonna be a relevance of something, and then it's like, oh, I see how. I see. I
Hmm.
was right. I called it. Yay. Then again, it would be fun. It would be kind of funny if he was just in this one episode and then never to be seen again, ever.
Sometimes anime will do that to
Yeah.
you just to mess with
Hmm.
you.
Yeah, I know. And like,
Yeah.
I know that there are a lot of animes where there are characters that only appear in like 5 episodes, but you'll remember them because they're so nuts.
Mm.
So, oh yeah, this was another good one. I'm trying to think about other things. So there is the other group, right? The other group that goes into the dungeon, and I
Kabru's
don't
Oh,
recall.
party.
Kabru.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kabru and his friends, yeah.
hmm I think Kabru thinks he's in Game of Thrones, but he's be, based on how he talks and how he acts and stuff. But I'm also interested in seeing what they can do with him because yeah,
Yeah.
you can tell that he kind of thinks that he's the smartest person in the room. And not that he doesn't value the others, but he's more. You can tell that this guy has a bit more of a master plan just than rescue Fallon.
Mm.
Well, you'd be interested to know that we actually dive deeper with his party. I think at the very beginning of the next season.
And then I'm looking forward to that. And also I think we didn't really talk about Elias much. I noticed, so I just
Yes, actually, one of my friends has a crush on Laios.
because of course, like why am I not surprised? But not judging. I'm just saying I shouldn't be surprised by this. The one thing I will
She's
say though,
basically joked to me that like her taste is mainstream now.
mm, that's mainstream blonde guys that don't that act before they think.
Blonde autistic guys. Well, it's not confirmed, but
Yeah, I've seen a lot of talk that a lot of people identified with him being on the spectrum, and it's
Yeah, I
I
can
can
definitely
tell
see
it, right? Like it feel like even if it's not confirmed, it feels very like okay, this is very like spectrum coded stuff like that. It feels like because of how he
that. Mhm.
acts and the way he talks and stuff like that.
Yes. And for all intents and purposes, I would say good representation because as much as he's like the quote unquote goofy guy, it's not that he's also competent. He has legit good plans. He has legit good sentimental moments. He has good, he can read people. And if you notice, some of the biggest emotional parts of the show come from him. I think it's a good representation for people on this because there is this kind of stereotype that people on the spectrum are like not that emotionally,
But
aren't that good at handling
they can feel
emotions.
emotionally cut off, but that's not really the
Yes.
case, right? For a
hmm
lot of them at all.
hmm
but I
but
think he is emotional like
Hmm.
when he found the Falin skeleton, but he's actually more concentrating on like okay, I guess we can revive her. So he didn't break down crying because it's not final that she's dead.
yeah, but in general I think it's a good way to show that just because because there is this kind of misconception about it. So if so let's say if he is autistic, then it can show that, yeah, he can also like be emotional to his friends. He can have outbursts and something, but it's not just because of him. It's because he legit cares about another person. In Fallon's case, his sister.
Yeah, I love.
Yeah.
No, I fully agree with you. Like I love how they show Laos and how other people see him as very oblivious or very like he lacks the ability to be social, right?
Maturity.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
I think it's less that he doesn't know how to be social and more like he doesn't know how to mask for polite society, you know.
Yeah. No, I fully agree with you. And again, like that's a thing with, autistic people on the spectrum as well, right? That's
Hmm.
not all of them, to be fair, because it's a spectrum. Everyone's different,
It's
obviously.
actually kind of interesting. There is another analysis that Kabru himself is autistic, but his special interest is social interactions
Mm.
instead of like monsters.
Wow, actually, no, that's very interesting. Yeah, you're right. That would be an interesting
Very
thing
cool.
too, but would also make sense for Kabru.
Hmm.
Interesting. But yeah,
So
like
now,
he's great representation. Like I loved Laios in that regard. Not my
mhm.
personal favorite character, but if he's yours and you're on the spectrum, I fully get it. Like
in a
it's
way,
great representation.
I know the Dungeon Meshi is not shonen, but I think he's an
It's
interesting take.
seinen actually.
Yep,
What is it?
seinen. I mean,
Seinen.
it's marketed towards young adult men. I believe shonen is marketed towards like teenagers, right?
Yeah. But
But
the
like,
magazine where anyway, sorry you were saying?
just because the reason I'm saying I know it's not shonen because when you think of a shonen protagonist, there is like a few elements that you expect to see there. But in a way, he's kind of like that because he's a good meaning goofball, but at the same time, I think like Steph said, I think one of you said it's a bit more mature than that. He's a well-meaning goofball, but he also has a bit more of a slightly more maturity to him, slightly, not by a lot, if because you can tell that he's someone that lived through stuff and that the beginning of the show still haunts him, losing Fallon and everything. So you can tell that he's learning and that he's gone through the process of losing people or being held by people. And despite the fact that he's a goofball who kind of believes in everyone and wants to give all of them a chance, and he would and always fight and looks for a challenge, he has a level of maturity to him that grounds him. So I think he's a really good take on that type of character.
But again, it's not confirmed by Ryoko Kui, so
Yeah,
like that's
Oh,
just fandom.
of course.
but
I uh, I can
even if
have my
it's
analysis.
even if it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
never confirmed or unattended, it's still really good and like more power to the people who can identify that with that and have that representation, right?
Hmm?
Hmm.
That being said, I just want to bring this one up because it's something that Steph and I were talking about. Um, I like the idea that dark magic is not only a thing here, but you can see how much of a dangerous thing it is because in not like there are shows like I think in the Dragon Prince they show it that like, oh, you use black magic, oh no, but oh, you only use it once, so it's okay, all good. Nah, it doesn't matter, it doesn't really matter here. Dark magic actually has caveats to it, and yeah, you can tell why people wouldn't want to use it. And I like this other level of there are rules that ground this world, even though it has dragons and creatures that you can eat.
Mm.
Hmm.
Great, I'm glad you agree with me. Moving on.
Yeah,
What
no,
do
I don't. Well, there's gonna be more about not necessarily black magic, but it's more like mm, the consequences of using magic too much to actually get your wishes. Oh, so you know.
Oh yeah, that thing. I was spoiled on that thing a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, no.
So I know a little bit about that. Yeah, I'm interested to see more of that and how they explore that. That's going to be really interesting. Sorry, HC. This is spoilers for
Uh,
possible season 2.
oh no! Don't, are you telling me that there's something to look forward to in a season of a show, which
Never.
might make me interested in keep watching it, even though I was interested already? Oh no! I can have little bits, guys. I don't need to be completely blind.
Nah, nah, nah,
But
nah.
basically, like the only reason why they managed to resurrect Fallen is because they're in a dungeon where, like, the ecosystem is set up that, you can't die that easily.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I do love how they set the like, because this is the thing that I'm sure this will influence a lot of Dungeons and Dragons campaigns for people, right? Since it
Oh
has
boy.
released,
Hmm.
but I do love how it does think about, right, like a dungeon and how would a dungeon function as an ecosystem. I think that is a fascinating idea, and I love how in depth it goes for that. Like it's really focused in on that.
And on that note, I do want to point out, I do want to ask, do you have a favorite creature that they encounter and then eat?
Not until season 2, unfortunately.
Aw, Steph, I'm disappointed. The pumpkin.
No, 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 no. Okay, okay. I do like the mushrooms, the changeling mushroom.
Yeah, okay, they're cute too, but no, the pumpkins. Come
No, no,
on.
no. The
The
changeling mushroom,
pumpkins.
the one where the oh right, the pumpkins too.
Yeah, the pumpkins. The ones that you kept sending me stickers of. Yeah, those guys. They're hilarious. I love them.
It's actually like it got to a point where I was such a fan at one point that I actually draw it so much.
Which is fair. It's something about those faces, right? Just seeing a pumpkin with this face that it
It was
again,
hilarious.
it's simple, but it gets you. It's what you need at this
A
moment.
handsome face pumpkin.
Mhm. Well, eat this pumpkin and you'll be as handsome as Shenshi. Results may vary. So,
I'm going to
quick
show
question
you a
for
picture.
actually. How old did you think Chilchuck was when the show started?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, for me, hmm. I would say I thought it seemed like he would, he was in his like, yeah, I would say it seemed to me like before we got told his age, I would say he looked like or felt like he was in his 20s by the way he acted, like 20s or 30s, somewhere in there. He felt older than what he looked, right?
Yeah, Asians don't raisins. No.
Nah.
Well, obviously he's half
Uh,
foot, but
because here's the thing, I figured he is a bit more that he's a bit older than what he looks like, but then but then he mentions that he has an ex-wife, and I'm like, wait, what? He doesn't look this old.
well, I mean, okay, I don't know about ex-wife because technically the both the manga and anime just said they're separated. They're not divorced.
Oh, details, I get it. There is a difference, but like
Now, I'm
details.
not trying to be pedantic, but I guess like a lot of people, this has been like a fandom debate because people are like, no, he might actually get back together with his wife, and then another person would say like, no, he'll be with like another person, and it's like it's a whole thing.
The chill chuck shipping walls. Enter today. Leave never. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else to mention.
Yo, you
Anything
did
you.
you did mention favorite creature, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I It would be hard to pick, but I did love, especially if you were talking about ones they ate, the ghosts. I love how you turned ghost into sorbet. Apparently, that was
Yeah,
absolutely hilarious. But I think
yeah.
my favorite one might be Marciel's familiar,
Oh
Yeah.
right, the basically it's like
the derpy looking
it's
bird,
basically
and then
burrito.
Yeah.
Burrito bird.
Yep.
Yeah, the burrito
The
birds.
derpy looking bird and then the derpy looking flying fish was wonderful.
Ugh, I
Yes, it was
agree. I
actually pretty great.
I think also the ones that I like were like those little worm things that can take over a man object, and they just turn them into pasta or something. I mean,
Oh yeah.
fair enough. Fair enough. Like if you have those what's the best thing to make out of them? Pasta. Sure, totally works. So, Steph, I do wonder, as someone who read the manga and came into the anime, how would you rate this compared to other anime adaptations that you've seen? Like,
I really like it. I think I would go like 8 out of 10, but like the other 2 points is like, just they're docking some of the parts that I really like. But other than that, it's an excellent adaptation. I also like that, but I mean it's been the anime industry as a whole has not been doing the whole you adapt one chapter of the manga into 20-minute episodes straight. I think I like the trend where they like condense 2 or 3 chapters into one. It's because sometimes you don't need that much exposition on TV. But
Yeah. They used to do that a lot more
yeah,
in the
but
past.
yeah, exactly. I like that even though like some because of that I'm losing details of like some of the stuff that I really like in the manga. Like there was like the final episode is the one that I remember because like in Laios's mind he remembers Kabru's name wrong, and then there's a mini Kabru going,
Oh, so I thought the line of like, "Hey, you remember my name now, right?" from Kabaru felt a little odd in where they placed it close
yes,
to the
because
end
the
when they
anime
separated.
never introduced himself to Laios.
Yeah, that was I thought that felt a little bit odd. It's like that's a little weird, but okay. So that makes a lot more sense that they were supposed to have met beforehand. Okay. Or were you supposed to have seen them meeting beforehand? Okay.
No, you remember the episode where Falin was revealed to be like a giant chicken?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Kabru actually introduced himself. Hi, my name is Kabru, blah blah blah, but they cut it.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, that would make a
Like
lot more
I
sense with that little scene.
I know it doesn't sound like an important scene, but I think it would make, like
Well,
the later.
it helps for context, right? And also, it just
Yeah,
helps you
yeah.
discern, like, okay, Laos is bad with names, right? Something that
yeah,
Mhm.
if you just watch the anime, I don't think you'll really pick up on as much. That okay, Laos is really bad with names. Like, yeah, he's
Mhm.
bad with people. Like, I guess you get some of that from the like the oh, what was it? The illusion spell from the monster when they get further down into the winter area.
Oh, the mushroom. The mushroom, the thing, the changeling mushrooms.
Not the changeling,
Oh
but
no, not the
the
changeling
one
mushroom.
before that one.
The shapeshifter.
Yes, the shapeshifter. That's it. You kind of get the sense there that he's bad with identifying people and like being able to tell them apart a little bit, but also you get the sense that wait, no, he's actually really good with that. He just reads people in a different way. So I don't know, like
Yeah,
you get a little bit of that,
because
but not
he.
in the same way, right? So I think it would have been helpful to have the copper scene. I agree with you.
Yeah, but it's also kind of like uh how we all see each other slightly differently depending on like
Mhm.
how we were introduced. I guess that's
Yeah,
the thing is, yeah, the Laios is concentrating more on the cool parts of his friends rather than,
true. Yeah, you're right. He doesn't concentrate on the looks as much,
yeah.
which is fair.
as someone who this is actually something as someone who can barely remember people's names as soon as they introduce themselves, and it takes me a lot of the time to actually get it right. I feel very related. I feel I relate to this. I
Fair
very
enough.
much relate to this.
Mhm.
And but yeah, the one other thing though that I think this is more for season two, like stuff that I would kind of like to see because Steph showed me that there's a lot of fun like off-panel jokes that they do in the manga. I
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing a bit, maybe as a short sting or something, but I really wouldn't mind seeing the characters just goof off like in those. I think, which for the record, they do have in this show. Like there are a lot of great character interactions and a lot of great moments between the characters, and everything. But like, let's say there's one that where she showed me that Itazumi is just looking for someone to cuddle next to because she's a cat, and
Hmm.
that's adorable.
Oh yeah, that's actually not actually covered in the manga or anime. That there is actually a special art book for like Dungeon Meshi, and that's specifically like from the art book.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So
but like.
yeah, it's like Izutsumi basically was like looking for someone to cuddle with as she goes to bed, and you know, disaster.
So you see, I wouldn't mind seeing a bit more of those because if there's one thing the show really does well, is the interactions between the characters and the comedy that can come out of it. So if you have the chances, I'd say go for it for next time. But who know? But who knows? Either way, we get enough. It's not that we don't get any of it. I just think I can see it lasting a bit more. This is fun.
No, fair. It's nice to see that stuff animated. Like I'm of two minds about it, right? Because generally, I don't read a ton of manga. I will admit. Generally speaking, like I'll watch a
Uh-huh.
show and then go check out the manga. Is how I've tended to
Hmm.
do it in the past. I've gotten more into it here or there in recent years, but still not a ton. So like I'm of two minds about it. I would love to see this stuff animated, but at the same time, it gives me something that's like, all right, I'm gonna go read the manga now, and oh, I get to see new stuff that I didn't get from the anime. So I'm of two minds about it, right? It sucks if you're a
Yeah.
manga reader first, because there's things you would love to see animated that you don't get to see, and it benefits the anime people if they go to the manga. But yeah, like it's a give and take, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But either way, we get
I
there were a lot of gives here, so
Hmm.
that's
again,
and
I don't hate it. It's actually a
No, fair.
really well done
Yeah.
adaptation. I just the little moments like when like Laios like forgot or like mispronounces Kabru's name, and there's like a tiny little panel of Kabruing. My name, it's Kabru.
No, that's fair. Absolutely. Like
uh,
it's
That sort of moments sells the believability, I find.
mm,
yeah, and especially because when you see more of Cabra, it's like really this guy, like it makes sense that this guy would be mad that nobody that this asshole doesn't remember his name, but then it's also but also for someone who is such a great planner, it'd be like. Really, the name. This is what you're focused on. Don't you have other stuff to wreck your brains around?
now sometimes they will take stuff like that from time to time if they don't use it in like a first season and put it
Hmm.
within the second season or later season. So we
Mm.
could see some of those things pop up later, potentially, if they felt like, okay, we can use this later.
I'm
Now, you'd be more
I'm looking. Yeah,
familiar with that
sorry.
than I would be. Oh, no, you're fine. I'm just saying, like, you would be more familiar with that than I would be because you know more of the manga and what if there's something they could use later.
Well, I'm looking forward to the so season 2 is gonna start with Kabru's group and
Hmm.
the elf police. Well, I shouldn't say elf police. They're more kind of like imagine if Americans trying to intervene with local politics. I'm so sorry, Wolf.
No,
But
you're fine. I get
that's
it. But
essentially
that's a
is
good example. Like, that makes sense. I
that's
Mhm.
get it.
essentially what it is.
Yeah.
But so Kabru basically has to deal with them, and I'm looking forward to that just purely for Schadenfreude reasons.
Mm. So
Because
the
you know
elves are
how
the
like
world police. I get it.
yeah, you know how I know he hasn't had the best experience with other humans, but like it does kind of bother me when he's like, "Ah, Laios and his sister must be evil." Ho, 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 ho." So I'm like,
Oh, okay,
Mm.
I see. I think I might get where they're going with that then. That'll be fun.
So like let like we'll see how you handle that then, huh?
Yeah, definitely. We shall see. We shall see. Hmm. I have to say though, I am looking forward to seeing more of that, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing how what is this going to lead to? Because there's already tension between the two groups, right?
Mhm.
Uh,
I have a feeling I have a feeling this is going to lead to something a bit bigger.
oh, and we actually get to see Thistle's bedroom.
I mean, every every person designs the bedroom that they want for themselves. I am not going to judge.
Oh no, but like I mean I really like Thistle as a character, and I don't really, but I just find that kind of funny. But
Mm.
I'm giving you like non-contextual teases.
So
Oh,
if people don't
wait,
want
wait, one more thing.
explanations,
They actually I know in the manga that they're gonna be there's gonna be like a bunch of dragons coming up, and in the manga they did like a little tiny reference to Toothless. I don't know if they're gonna do
Hmm.
that in the anime, but we'll see.
Yeah, that'll be fun to see.
that would be
Hmm.
fun. I'd be up for
It's
it.
not like a big part, just like a tiny little cameo.
Yo, we made it reference to How to Train Your Dragon once again.
Yeah.
Relevancy.
I mean, I am not complaining. I will never complain about this. This is really cool.
Well, you would complain if it was a reference to Thunder.
Because everyone would.
No,
Everyone would.
no, no.
You see Toothless and you go, "Ah, cute." You see Thunder and you go, "What the fuck is this cow-looking thing?"
I'll come back on here and claim it as a reference to Winger for UHC. Your silence speaks volumes.
I sighed. I'm not sure if it got it in the mic, but
You're welcome.
if Steph
Mm.
weren't here, I would kick your ass. But that's another story.
That's
Fair.
okay. I'm down for kicking ass, so
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just here being the thingy, what do you call that, spectator.
Okay.
Fair.
Well, Wolf, you heard the lady. Come here, you. So yeah. So anyway, yay for Toothless references.
Yeah.
The question, please just tell. So this is something I'm going to ask now. Are there any hedgehog prototypes in the future?
No.
Great. This is good. They are
You've
not.
been denied.
Mm. No, actually, this
No,
is good
it's
because
No,
not
no.
necessarily like a Toothless reference, but it looks like an off-brand Toothless. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
uh,
okay. That'll be interesting.
mhm.
Hmm.
Off-branded Toothless are like what? I am curious to see what this
So
looks like.
Thunder.
Sadly,
Who
you're
is
not.
this Thunder?
That's
I'm
from
curious
the
It,
now.
new How to Train Your Dragon show.
from the
Rise of
Nine
the Night.
Realms,
Yeah,
you
Night
know,
Oh,
Realms.
the cow, the thing that I
oh,
showed in the
the
group chat we had with one of our friends, and she went, "What the fuck is this?" That thing.
oh, the torture that you guys go through.
Yeah, went through. We're done. It's over. No more. Mm. Uh, so anyway,
Actually, yeah.
sorry, Steph, you go first.
No, I was actually going to actually upload the off-brand Toothless picture.
Ah, okay. So you do that, Wolf, if you want. You can post that, and the other art that Steph shared with us. You can put it on the. This is not like this is like if Toothless and Ghidorah had a child. Wo-
I don't know if it's gonna make it into the anime because it's such a small panel.
Wolf, would you mind to putting it in the in the thumbnail so that people could see?
In the thumbnail.
Yeah, no,
I'll
I mean
hide it away in there.
No, just put it on. I mean, just put it on screen for a second so that people could see what we see.
Yeah, sure.
Because well,
Give me just a
I'm not
second.
gonna link the rest of the page because
it's
that's
okay.
a big
This is enough.
spoiler. But it's just
I
this,
love their face. They have this face of like, and then you can see like in their throat they have like this gulping like, like what? I it looks like they watch Shenshi cook one of their friends or something. That's the face I would have if I saw someone do that.
not saying anything.
Fair enough. So
But
in
yeah,
terms
if
of,
you
I'm sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
Okay, so I just want to ask Wolf something. What did you think about the Red Dragon trilogy? The 3 episodes about the Red Dragon.
Oh my God, I remember that.
Uh, hmm. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Well, you
You know
see,
what HC said?
Huh.
There's no way they're gonna beat the dragon in one episode.
No, I thought that was interesting because, like, because it's about, oh, when is that? That's like episode, I want to say around the halfway point in the show,
11,
right?
12.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
basically the halfway point. Yeah,
I thought that was interesting because then we get, because generally that's where, they would end. It's like, all right, they did this, now see you next season. And no, it's like we get a lot more after that. And I was very interested in a thing of like, okay, you've kind of accomplished the goal. So what are you going to do now from this point to keep me interested, right? And I think they did quite well at that
one thing
because then we
that
get episode
I
13, right? And everything that happens there. And then we just keep going further. And it's just like, okay, no, this is getting actually, we're expanding it more and it's getting even more interesting now.
that's actually something that I was a bit disappointed by. That hey, we found Fallon, so it's like great. I wonder what her interaction with the team be, and then they just like, oh no, Fallon is kidnapped again. She's still not part of them. It's like really, so we just basically went through this half a season for nothing, but that's like really my one big problem. My one
Fair
big
enough.
flaw with the show. It's like, for fuck's sake, we just saved her. What do you mean we need to save her again? But this time she's the chicken goddess or some shit. I don't know. The design is really something. I have to say.
I like the design. I thought that was like
No,
a really
I
cool
like
chimera.
it too.
Oh,
Yeah,
fair,
I
fair.
like it too. But it's just I like it though because it's like both horrifying and funny. Like it's that perfect combo of terrifying the shit out of you, but also making you laugh because really you turn her into a chicken and this is what she looks like.
I have to say this particular episode, the chicken episode is basic. The English dub is superior to the Japanese dub because they actually because when you hear Marcel look at Fallen like what it sounds a lot more emotive,
Emotional.
more yeah, lots more feelings more than just like "No, my possible love interest turned into a chicken."
Something which leads me to the question, Wolf, do you ship Marcel and Fallon?
Uh, I mean, yeah, like I can see it. I get it, right?
Yeah, you see, Steph, you didn't need to convince him, even though you convinced me. Everyone seems to be convinced. I can now see why you told me that this is the most close this is the closest we get to a canonical ship.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's not a lot of ships in this particular anime, but like I ship them, but I actually surprisingly, I think you guys might be surprised, but I ship Laios and Kabru.
I am not surprised by this
I
because you
can
send
see
me
that
fan
too.
comics every time. Every time we talk about this,
But
so
I know quite a few people who are like, "Why are you shipping the Kabru hates Laios?" Like, listen, you just gotta see season 2. That's all I'm gonna say.
Listen, yeah, just the enemies to lovers trope. I get it.
They went through shit, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
not so much enemies to lovers, enemies to I don't think you're my friend, maybe you're my friend, I guess you're
I guess we are okay with each other. Maybe friends with
you
benefits.
just have to go through the journey.
Hmm.
Fair enough.
Um, actually,
Then
yeah.
again, now that I think about it, their ship name would be Labu, and that sounds like
Yeah.
that sounds like a game. I don't know. It sounds like a puzzle game for some reason.
Oh
So
my
yeah,
God, there's another moment I'm looking forward in season 2 with Laios and Kabru, but not a shippy one, but a Schadenfreude one.
oh boy,
Mm.
that sounds like season two has a lot. That has a lot to happen that I'm actually really looking forward to,
I
because
can I
I want to spend more time with these
mm,
characters.
yeah,
I want to see where the
agreed.
story goes.
Agreed. I can definitely see that there's probably a lot of shipping within the fandom for Dungeon Meshi, right? Because there's definitely scenes with.
I
Oh, go ahead.
I kind of hate the fact that like people the shipping is fine, but it's just like people come into Dungeon Meshi expecting this to be like a queer amazing queer fest, and it's like,
Oh yeah,
yeah, I support gay rights, but not this.
yeah, not
uh,
quite here.
Yeah, like I get it that people are looking for, but also this is not what the show is about.
No,
Yeah.
but I can definitely like watching the show, right? I can definitely see like, okay,
Hmm.
I can see how from these scenes people might ship Marcial and Laos, or people might ship Marcial and Fallen, right? Like I can definitely
Yeah.
100% see it.
Here's the thing: shipping shouldn't be the reason you're getting into something. Like it's a nice bonus, but it shouldn't. You
There's
shouldn't.
even a YouTube video where someone actually made a like a thing about like Dungeon Meshi fans said there's gonna be a queer romance between Marcel and Fallen, and that didn't happen, and I hate it. I'm like,
Don't listen to the
Only got a
fandom.
scene of two of them being naked in a hot tub. This is not enough. Tell me I'm
yeah,
wrong.
wow. Well, yeah, but like you shouldn't go get into shows just because shipping, you
Yeah,
know?
I agree. Like
I
again,
agreed.
like HC said, it's a nice bonus, but it's not inherently what you should be there for. Is like the romantic relationship, the relationships between characters. If you're in it for that, sure, 100% go for it, because that's a big important part to like storytelling, right? But
Yeah,
don't get
yeah.
into it just for the romantic side of things.
I am going to get into this show because someone spoiled me that these characters are going to end up together.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong. Some people are actually getting into
I mean,
Dungeon Meshi because they expect it to be like a beautiful fantasy lesbian extravaganza when
it's
there is some shipping content, there is some queer content, but I don't know about lesbian extravaganza.
it
Yeah, because it's not the main focus. There's an adventure to
Hmm.
go through. There's the creatures that we kill and then cook
should
for our stomach pleasure.
we should say.
Sorry, Wolf, we keep
Oh no, you're
interrupting.
fine. Go for it. Interrupting is a
Mhm.
part of that's the name of the game on this show. I'm perfectly fine
Mhm.
with it. But no, I was just gonna say
Mhm.
like it's perfectly fine if that's how you start by getting into Dungeon Meshi, but don't walk away from it saying this show is terrible or this manga is terrible because I didn't get the thing, like the lesbian extravaganza. If you start with like, all right, I got into this because I was promised lesbian extravaganza, and you're like, oh, I got more than that. I'm actually really happy with what a lot of what I got from the show. Great. But if you walk away from it, no, this show is terrible or the manga is terrible because I didn't get the lesbian extravaganza. You are robbing from yourself, in my opinion, right? Like you are, stealing from yourself an enjoyable experience otherwise because of that one thing. So be able and be willing to look past that. It can be how you start,
Yeah.
but be able and be willing to look past it. Yeah.
Well, I
Agreed.
mean, but that's like if you're actually getting into Disco Elysium because you want to date Kim Kitsuragi, which the game is not.
Mhm.
But
No fair.
We
that's another.
I was wondering if you're going to bring Disco Elysium.
Sorry.
And don't apologize. I'm just joking with you. It's an inside joke between us. Don't
Oh, there's actually even a Tumblr poll like, dear people on Tumblr who is familiar with Disco Elysium, did you know that there is a murder in this game, or did you think it was actually a dating sim with Kim Kitsuragi? A majority of them think it's a dating sim with Kim.
I mean, I guess people are thirsty for their romance. I can't blame them, but also,
It is Tumblr. They are very horny.
Yes, fair enough.
well, not to judge people who got into something for a specific reason, but I'm also going to say again, don't make shipping the main reason you got into something
Mm.
because it shouldn't be that. Again, it's a nice extra, but there are other things to focus on in this show where people go into dungeons, fight monsters, and then cook them for their eating pleasure. Speaking of, I
Yep.
just have to say, I think one of the things I want to ask is, God damn, is the food looking good? Would you ever try cooking something from this show?
Yeah, 100%. It looks so good. Anime do that a lot though. If you like to look at anime, especially like Japanese media, right? They love whenever they do anything with food in a show, they make that stuff look really, really good. Like
I tried to
exceptionally
get
good.
him into Silver Spoon, which is a farming anime with lots of food content, but it didn't take. So I guess this is the first time he's seen like the fancy anime food.
Yeah,
Mm.
no, I remember the food that looked good. It's just that I think, why did we stop that show? I don't remember.
Eh, they actually hired a food consultant for Dungeon Meshi.
Fair enough.
You should try get HC into Food Wars.
Oh,
Oh boy.
He'll love it.
the fact that Wolf
Oh boy.
suggested that and he's laughing, and the fact that Steph goes, "Oh boy," sounds like it's something that I'm either going to absolutely adore or throw my shoe across the screen in order to never see it again.
You might get
I
into it,
can't
but
say.
it's a show.
Uh,
Steph's reactions are turning me off from it, but
I
we'll
fully
see.
I
We'll
fully get why
um,
she's reacting that way too.
I'm. mm, Listen, Japanese food is great. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know if it's so great that you're gonna be naked from foodgasm.
Yeah, the entire show is about you eat food and your clothes explode off.
Yeah, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
You'll love it, HC.
Uh, I doubt it. Let's hope that this and Dungeon Meshi would never cross over.
That is
So,
Oh God.
oh, Lord. That is Food Wars is basically like if you're looking for like the food animation porn, like if you're really big and I gotta see the food looking amazing, like go watch Food Wars. You'll get that. And a bunch of
uh,
people's clothes just exploding off randomly whenever they
Yeah,
eat food.
basically.
so besides that, does anyone has anything else to say? Or
Yeah, go watch Dungeon Meshing. Go read the manga.
Yeah.
It's good.
go watch Dungeon Meshi and make the food in it and won't look as good so that your clothes would blow up or something. I don't know. I'm gonna need to see a therapist after this. So anyway, before we wrap up, Steph, as the expert on the matter, anything
Mhm.
you are excited to see in season two, and anything that we should keep an eye out for?
I already said I can't wait until we get to see like all the Kabru Schadenfreude. I really like Kabru, but I think I like him a lot more after had to he was put in the shoes of like, okay, now you have to deal with like some of the shit that Laios has to deal with. I'm like, Oh, not so easy after all, is it?
Interesting. So I guess with all that said, this is it for this episode of the
Oh, wait, wait, wait,
Outcast.
wait, wait. Hold on.
Wait,
I need to ask Wolf about the mermaid and Italy.
okay, ask.
Okay, so what did you think of the mermaid scene, first of all?
What was the mermaid seat again? I gotta remember real quick.
Well, when the mermaid starts singing and Laya starts to harmonize,
Oh yeah, I thought that was hilarious, right?
I was like very original.
Yeah.
It was. And what was the other
Italy.
one?
Now, Italy. So, did you have any inkling of Italy?
Oh, for the scene, that makes a lot of sense. But when I first watching it, no, I didn't. I will admit.
Okay. But yeah, no, someone actually posted something that I really agree on. It was like, you think that Dungeon Meshi is going to be annoying with its female character because Marcel in the first episode is like, "No, I don't want this food. I don't want this food." But then you see other female characters being normal about things. So, and then you just find out that Marcel is like the Italian equivalent. I'm like, yes, yes.
Mamma
That makes
mia.
a lot of sense. Yeah.
So, like the Italian boyfriend genre on TikTok, where Italian boyfriends react to crimes against Italian food or something.
I've seen some. Yeah. Uh huh. That makes a lot more sense now. Yeah.
And I have to admit, when considering some of the food I tend to show Steph that's supposed to represent something she knows, then she goes, "This is not how it's supposed to be."
I am your Italian boyfriend.
Well, no, not really that, but sure, if that's what floats your boat. So, anything else to add?
Yeah, that's all I want to ask.
No, fair.
So, with all that said, this is it for this episode of the Outcast. We hope you enjoyed it. What do you think about Dungeon Meshi? Are you excited for season two? What was your favorite thing about season one? You can tell us all about it in the comment section below on our Twitter, which is Berkcast with capital B, capital C, and on our Tumblr, which is Berkcast Team. Steph, my darling, where can people find you on the internet?
StephanieSujono.tumblr.com, StephanieSujono.tumblr.com, or StephanieSujono.com, which is my official website, and there's not a lot of fan art, but there's a lot of illustrations and comics. StephanieSujono.com.
We all have links for that in the description. So, with all that said, I was HC,
I was Wolf.
Mm, I'm Steph.
and we will see you all next time. Take care.
Bye
Bye.
bye.